the day.
Yeah, totally. It's just like, now working the Stardock, except with more cave-ins, lasers, and accidental dismemberment.
Very helpful. Thank you.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Cloud9 Gaming, right here on Cloud9 Radio. You are gaming with your boy Unique. And today I'm going to get into the ASUS ROG Strix gaming desktop and how it performs with the new release, Starfield. Now, the ASUS ROG Strix comes packed with a 3060 12GB video card, i7, and 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. I consider this a budget option and a computer that a lot of people could afford to get into gaming. And that's why I think it's a good benchmark for newer games to see how they run. Now, starting off real quickly, guys, the game, when you load it up, fresh out the box, as you might say, first time loading the game up, you will notice that it is performing at medium settings. Now, Starfield, guys, as a game, can give you vibes of Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, Fallout 4, even some Destiny 2 vibes. Just the type of game, if you were wondering, the type of vibes that it gives me. This is a very large and ambitious game, guys. Over 100 gigabytes on your hard drive is going to be dedicated to playing this game. Very large scale, very ambitious. Starting with the story is good. However, it will start off a little slow. At least to me it did. But once it started picking up a few hours into the game, you can kind of see where the plot's going. But it does start off slow. I do think it's good. The frames per second I was noticing was somewhere between 30 to 60. Sometimes on the cutscenes it would drop to the 30s, but for the most part, when I was playing the game, it was hitting about 55 to 60, with 55 being that norm, so it was running really smooth. The music is epic at times. The background effects from hearing airlocks and pressure locks is very, very well done, and it kind of captivates you and puts you in an immersive environment. Really like the music, guys. Really like the sound effects, especially trying to capture that space and that space age feel. But when you're speaking at the audio, or speaking of the audio, sorry about that, speaking at is a good point though. So what do I mean? When you look at somebody, you can hear them talking. But if you just turn a little bit, even if you're at the same distance, it might be hard to hear that person when they're still very much in earshot. You haven't changed the distance. You might just be looking off in a different direction. So sometimes you might notice when you're walking with people, it's hard to hear them unless you're standing right in front of their mouth. Speaking of standing right in front of their mouth, the lip sync, guys. There is times where people are talking and their lips aren't moving, or their lips are moving and they're not talking. So the lip sync, you can call it a glitch if you want, or maybe it's something they can fix. It is a little bit off at times. Not all the time, but at times it was. Another thing that was off with the sound is the bullet sounds. They don't always come out on time. I let off a whole clip into an enemy, and when I went to reload is when the bullets started sounding. I was like, that is a delayed reaction. That is horrible. That is a super delayed reaction, guys. Crazy. So those two audio issues I did want to mention. Even on the Xbox Series X, guys, I wound up playing the game on both versions so you could have footage to compare it to. But even then, I had lip syncing and bullet syncing issues where they're not lining up with the gunshots or they're not lining up with the people talking. Small issue, but it is something to bring up. Now, the gunplay I thought was very solid. Nice guns, well designed, excellent gunplay. The guns snap. However, enemies can be bullet spongy. I mean, you could drop 100 rounds into one enemy's forehead and he was still walking. These guys must come from the night of the living dead because they just don't drop. I promise you. I was lighting these fools up. Yeah. And the food just kept coming forward. Impossible. Impossible, Craig. I tell you, it's impossible. But the gunplay, other than the enemies being a little bullet spongy, was really good. Traversing and traveling, you might notice a lot of load screens. I mean, constant load screens. Load screen here and a load screen there. A load screen everywhere. Literally. When you're traveling, guys, get ready for load screens. A ton of them. However, they might be constant and very present. They do load up pretty fast. So I do got to mention that. So if we're going to say the load screens are a negative, one positive to that negative is they do load up fast. Now, speaking of the world and traveling, what about the characters that you meet in the world, the NPCs? To me, these guys are comme ci, comme ça. So-so. Some are really good. Others, the exact opposite. Just horrible, Craig. Just horrible. Like, why did you put that? Is that a PlayStation 2 game character? Come on, man. Some of them are designed really good, but you gonna notice them extras. It's worse than a low-budget movie extra. These guys are horrible. So some are good and some are bad, so a mixed bag there. And I think you guys will agree with that mixed bag on the NPCs. An early tip, though, just to get off the gameplay and mix it up, guys. When I was on Venus, I found the nice little ship. So there's a ship on Venus where all you got to do is take out the guards surrounding it and the guards inside of it, and you can capture your first ship. That's right, you'll have 2 ships very early in the game, and this ship is a really good ship. So you're not having to invest so much in trying to upgrade your ship right away. Guys, don't forget to take advantage of the ship on Venus. Early tip, there's no spoilers there. I just found it wandering around, guys, on Venus. Couldn't help myself. Another thing, when you're wandering on these planets, make sure you got the correct helmet and bodysuit on. Different environments have different hazards. And that's about all I'm going to say there. Just early tips. Correct helmet, correct bodysuit for the correct environment, and you will last longer. Especially when you're getting into that RNG. So what about the graphics, guys? To me, I felt like the graphics capture the space vibe and the experience. You could turn off or you could turn down the film grade if you like, but I left it alone on the Xbox and on my gaming PC. I felt like it added that immersion, like it was really good. I'm not saying this is graphically Modern Warfare 3, but for what it's trying to do, for how large and how vast this game is, the graphics are really good, in my opinion. And honestly, guys, this game is so vast and it's doing so much. There's like 1,000 planets or so you can explore. Some of them are randomly generated. True. But just think of the scope of trying to create a world with 1,000 planets that you could explore. That's crazy. This game is massive, and you could sink hundreds, if not thousands of hours into this game, guys. The size and scope is impressive. There's like multiple games within the game. So a few things you'll find yourself doing is mining, of course, building your outpost. That's right, you could build your own outpost, add elements, whatever you want, add furniture. And I'm gonna leave it at that. There's factions. And I don't want to get too much into the factions because the factions actually affect the storyline. There is some choice here, guys, but this is not where the choices are so drastic that it affects the story or what's going on. Now, the factions that you choose to join can affect what's going on more than say the dialogue. Now, the factions are interesting, but I just don't want to get too deep into them because it could affect your gameplay and who you want to choose. I feel like They're all good choices,
And we'll get underway.
and you really can't go wrong. So choose a faction, guys, and it will affect the story some. Now, this is not going to be no Baldur's Gate 3, where decisions really impact the world, but I think that it does have a little bit of impact, and it's a good element to have. Now, speaking of games within the game, space battles. Yes, sir. The space battles were next level. Really enjoyed them, caught me off guard, and this is what I mean by this could be a game on its own. The space battles are done so well and across so many locations, space locations, planets in the background, rocks. I mean, you can only do so much with that. But thousands of planets, tons of ships to go after. The space battles in itself could be its own game. And they're really well done, in my opinion. From locking in to boarding, you can dock the ships. You can go around just being a space pirate, guys. Literally, this could be a space pirate game, if that's what you wanted it to be. That's one of the best things about this game. You can do a lot. You don't have to play it as a all guns blazing. You can go in stealth if you want to some missions. It really a lot of choice. It's a very vast game, guys. The ground RNG is fun. It doesn't really get old. You're always looking to conquer new ships, take out somebody's fort, not fort, but take out somebody's ship and just jack it. I can't lie. I was getting my Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, CJ Young, get out that ride, fool. It was too much fun, guys. I'm not playing. Except for telling them, I'm not telling them to get out their ride. I'm telling them, get out that spaceship. Give me that. I'm going to need that. Ooh, that's a pretty spaceship. Let me get that one. It was fun, guys. And that's what it boils down to. Is this game fun? And the simple answer is yes, it's fun. I just told you how much fun I was having hijacking people's spaceships. I can't lie. Whether I was in space or on the ground, I was shaking somebody down. I promise you, man, I couldn't help myself. I got like 5 ships in my, and I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in the game. I was getting them, bro. I promise you. But it's too much fun, guys. I think you'll really enjoy this game. And I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 running on the ASUS ROG Strix with the 3060 12 gigabyte video card, i7, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. An 8 out of 10, guys. I think that's a really solid score. You're getting a really good game, and I highly recommend you trying it out. Even if you just try it out on Game Pass and you're not buying the game, it's definitely a worthwhile experience. I've heard of some other people having glitches where people float through the walls. I haven't had that issue yet. However, I'm not 100 hours in the game either. So it could be there. I'm not saying people haven't had those glitches because I've actually seen the videos where they're doing it. Just from my experience so far, though, I haven't had those issues. The few issues I have been with the audio. And that's really why it's getting that 8 out of 10. If they can fix the lip sync and the bullet sync, I think that's going to push this to a 9 or a 10 out of 10 on a mid-tier gaming PC. Guys, that's next level. I can't wait to see how everyone feels about Starfield. And what system are you running it on? You running it on your Xbox Series X? You running it on your gaming PC, your desktop, your laptop? Are you trying to run it on your Ally or your Steam Deck? If you could get this game to run on your Steam Deck, hit me up in the comments and tell me the settings that you're running it on, or the Ally. Let me know. I'll try it as well. But that's all we got for this one, guys. And your boy is out. Peace.
are in Freestar Collective space, it then stands to reason that this was once a secret UC facility. Guard for person. No property rights.
It has been trashed. The whole room is trashed. We can't call for help. I can hear the terror morph roaring somewhere. And more people screaming.